Welcome, everybody. All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is today? Day four of the Wyoming Blockchain Stampede 2020. COVID be damned. We are here, and we're excited with Quantum Entanglement. My name's Chris Snook. I'm going to do my best to stay out of the way, but connect dots for you guys. And I'll start by saying that the purpose of this session, which we're excited about, is the metaphor of quantum entanglement is that a bunch of particles are colliding and interacting with one another and stuff happens. And so as intentional as we can be today, we've organized some amazing minds and some amazing inputs into this conversation around how we emerge and drive economic impact and the economy of the future. And so I'm going to step out of the way and welcome our new president, Ed Seidel, to kick us off here and welcome everybody down to your fine establishment here at the University of Wyoming.
Thanks a lot. So I'm hearing an echo. Will I turn off my microphone here? No. Okay. Got it. So thanks. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the University of Wyoming. I'm Ed Seidel. I'm the president as of July 1st of the University of Wyoming. And I'll explain in a minute. I don't think you could, if you didn't know my background or know me, you wouldn't imagine how excited I am by this event and and what it represents, I think, for the university and for the state. We have big plans to make investments and to do expansion of programs in the areas that are related to economic development and particularly driven by technology and computing. So let me first explain a few things. I want to say thanks to everybody for organizing this activity. And there are many dozens of people that have worked for many months to organize this. And I know it's been growing every year. And in fact, I'm eager to see that we expand these activities over time, not just with the university here, but with partners across the state, with community colleges and with other universities as well. I'd like to thank the chair of the Wyoming Hackathon, Caitlin Long, and executive producer Rich Kopcho. Where is Rich? I saw him a minute ago. Oh, there you are. And dozens of people across the state and across the university for helping with this. I'd like to just say a brief introduction to the panelists today, and I know you'll hear more from them directly, and also from Chris. First of all, to Honorable Mark Gordon, the governor of the state of Wyoming. I always see if I look up, I'm looking away from my, the human factors here are complicated. Yeah, okay, I will look directly at this camera. Anyway, thanks to Governor Gordon for joining us today. Also, thanks to DOE Chief Commercialization Officer, Connor Prohaska. Also to venture capitalist Tim Draper, also founder of Draper University. The head of IBM Research, Dario Gill. I guess Dario is in Zoom land. Ben Gertzel, CEO of SingularityNet, sitting to my right here. To venture capitalist Martin Lai. I saw Martin earlier. Hi, Martin. To IOHK CEO Charles Hoskinson. Hello, Charles. And to our own Dean of Engineering and Applied Science, Cam Wright. I saw Cam on the Zoom session there somewhere. Hi, Cam. And to Chris Snook, Managing Director of Load. To Steve Lupian, Director of our Blockchain Center that's just getting going here at the University of Wyoming. And perhaps I missed someone, I don't know, but that's all I have in my notes. So if there are others here, welcome as well. So let me just say a couple words about why I am so excited about being here. It's a convergence of a number of different things. So for example, many years ago, I was at the National Science Foundation, and I actually co-chair under the Office of Science and Technology Policy, the Quantum Information Science Working Group. And so I've thought about quantum information science and quantum entanglement and the development of quantum computing for a very long time. I just moved here from the University of Illinois, where I was, among other things, involved in helping to organize the Chicago Quantum Exchange, which is a very big project involving Argonne National Lab, the University of Chicago, the University of Illinois, and other partners there. So this is very exciting, and it's embraced not just by the scientists, but by people like the mayor and the business community, World Business Chicago, and so on in Chicago. So the point is, this is really seen as a major growth area that potentially will have a revolution in terms of the future of computing and all of its applications. I want to say a few more things just so you understand where I come from. So I was before coming here, among other things, I've spent many years at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications, starting as a postdoc in 1989, that's at the University of Illinois, and eventually coming back after going off and doing a few different things as the director. And so among other things, that center spawned the graphical web browser, which has added trillions of dollars to the world economy, and has an incredibly vibrant industry cooperation program with about 36 industry partners that has doing about something like 12 or $15 million a year in corporate partnerships just around the supercomputing center. So there's a lot of activity around supercomputing, and so that's even a very narrow sort of piece of what the impact of computing is. I also oversaw the programs at the National Science Foundation, in fact, overseeing all of the national supercomputing, big data, software, and such programs at the federal level, at least from the point of view of the National Science Foundation. And so anyway, I've thought about these things a lot, and it's really very exciting to be able to bring some of this to the state of Wyoming. I was also before the Vice President for Economic Development at the University of Illinois for the last 4.5 years. And the thing I did there that I think is very relevant for the state of Wyoming is created partnerships across all of the state's 12 public universities, as well as the private universities, University of Chicago, Northwestern, and Oregon National Lab, and a bunch of international partners. And the state appropriated $500 million for the project to build a collaborative environment for all of these institutions to come together with computing and data and artificial intelligence as sort of a foundation, but with applications into many market sectors that are important in the state, including agriculture, which is very important in this state as well. And then with a number of international partners, the idea is to help lay the foundations for the new economy in the state of Illinois. So with those instincts, you can imagine what I'm thinking about trying to do here in the state of Wyoming. I've only been here for a few months, but we're already beginning to talk about how to organize the state and to grow the capacity to lay the foundation for the new economy in the state of Wyoming as well. And so I'm bringing all of this because I think it's important to think about where I'm going to be interested in taking the university and I hope the state with partnerships across the whole state, including particularly with the community colleges and with the business community. There's a lot to build on here. This is one thing that's really very exciting for me. So for example, it turns out that the state of Wyoming has a program for educating elementary school kids in computing. And in fact, there is a K-12 computer science mandate here in the state of Wyoming. And one reason my partner Gabrielle, who's a professor over in Urbana-Champaign still, well, she's here in Laramie, she couldn't join us today, is she is organizing a statewide computer science K-12 summit in the state of Illinois, and people from Wyoming that are already doing it are there to help advise them. So the point is we're laying the foundations here, and that's very exciting. We also have this hackathon. We have a very exciting program that's run out of the Department of Electrical Engineering to educate with hands-on programming through Raspberry Pi and devices like that, teachers across the state, teachers and their students. So we're thinking about educating at the elementary school level, through the high school level, not just the students, but the teachers, and then building a consortium with the community colleges and with international and national partners. We can really do a lot. We're building the capacity, and I think over time you're going to see it really growing. And we have a great university here as well. And so we'll be doing a lot like that. So perhaps that's enough. I'll get into more details in the panel session, but I would just say we have interest in computing broadly. We have interest in building hubs of innovation across the state, not just here in the state in Laramie, but in collaboration with the community colleges. We also have the National Center for Atmospheric Research supercomputing facility in Cheyenne. And again, just one of the weird coincidences of my life, I was asked by the NSF around 2007 to chair a panel to recommend what should happen with the future of NCAR supercomputing. And we recommended it should be in Wyoming because there's so much opportunity there to grow and to think about having computing as a foundation for economic development. So I'll talk a lot more about that in the panel going forward, but I just wanted to say a few words to open it up.
Thanks, Ed. And we'll go to you, Connor, for your opening 10-minute remarks.
Well, thank you. President Seidel, thank you. It's very exciting to hear your history, and our paths have crossed before, obviously, in your previous life. And it's a pleasure of mine to be able to be here and represent the administration, the Department of Energy, the Secretary, and the Undersecretary of Science as well. Also, thank you to Governor Gordon, and also a great pitch competition last night that I got to participate in, which was one of the best that I've been able to participate in a while. It's very exciting to be here and talk a little bit about the National Quantum Initiative and what the national landscape looks like when we talk about quantum. Before I do that, I always want to make sure that we steady state what the Department of Energy is. So my name is Connor Prohaska, as mentioned, and I'm the Chief Commercialization Officer for the Department of Energy and the Director of the Office of Technology Transitions. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means and what the idea is between those titles and the efforts that we're doing at the department right now. I think the first thing that I always make sure audiences understand is the Department of Energy is wildly misnamed. The Department of Energy is really the Department of Nuclear Weapons Security and the Department of Science under one roof. We have been at the forefront of solving big problems since our inception under the Manhattan Project to the fuel crisis of the 1970s, and we'll continue to do that role even today as we look at the current issue of COVID. The Department of Energy, with our amazing supercomputers, were at the front lines at the very beginning to analyze and run protein sequences to help give researchers as much of a head start as we could to help work towards a vaccine. So the department has vast abilities and vast capabilities. When we look at our research budget annually, not collectively, but annually, we spend about $20 billion a year in non-defense research. And that spans everything from fuel efficiencies to solar panel efficiencies and new modes of renewable energies to neutrino science, shooting neutrinos out of Fermi lab and particle accelerators to catch them about a mile underground in South Dakota in hopes that we understand a little bit more about what happened after the Big Bang. So very basic research to some of the more applied research. When we talk about my office, the Office of Technology Transitions, I always like to put up sometimes a picture of the Forrestal building, which is our headquarters building in Washington, D.C. And if you've ever been there, you know that it's probably the ugliest building in Washington, D.C. And it sits across the street from the Smithsonian Castle, which is one of the prettiest buildings in Washington, D.C. But the reason I always like to put the picture up is because if you look at the Forrestal building and its brutalistic architecture, you literally can't find the front door. And when you talk about $20 billion of R&D annually spread across 17 disparate national labs spanning from Pacific Northwest National Lab to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to Savannah River, to Brookhaven National Lab, I could go on. When you talk about a complex that large and that vast and that spread out as far as what it does, it's tough to know where to connect. And if you do connect to the Department of Energy, sometimes you find yourself in a silo that may not always be the most appropriate or the best area for you to be working with. And so what the Secretary has charged us with at the Office of Technology Transitions and in my role as the Chief Commercialization Officer is to maximize the impact of the U.S. taxpayers' $20 billion of research and development spending that they do annually. So we do that really through three main ways: policy, access, and promotion. The first role is we just have to get less people to say, I didn't know the Department of Energy did that, because that's what we hear a whole lot of. The second area is access, providing an avenue that once you hear about what the Department of Energy does, you can actually reach out and touch it. We do that at the Office of Technology Transitions through a website called the Lab Partnering Service, labpartnering.org. I encourage everybody here and listening to please connect with us through that, because you'll be able to connect in three different ways. You can connect with our research, and there's about 40,000 patents on that particular website, but you can also connect to our amazing researchers, which are experts in their field and can help solve some of the world's worst and most challenging problems, not worst, but challenging. The third thing that you can connect to is the amazing facilities. I talked a little bit about the supercomputers. The department owns 4 of the 10 fastest supercomputers in the world. We're building 3 new exascale computers that'll hopefully be the top 3 fastest computers in the world when they're online. With that being said, we also have light sources at Brookhaven National Lab. We have particle accelerators. We have these amazing facilities that we want to make sure are accessible and that their impact is maximized as well. As we look across the country and we realize the amazing capabilities, we also don't want to just be centered around our national labs. And one of the initiatives that we've been charged with is to ensure that the regions that have potential to be associated with some great research from the department have those capabilities. And so one of the programs that I'm very excited about that we're running at the Office of Technology Transitions is our energy programs and clusters, or EPIC, innovation clusters, excuse me, or EPIC program. It's a $5 million program. We recently closed out the prize portion of that, which is about $1 million. And what's exciting about this, and there'll be more funding to come in the form of a funding opportunity announcement very soon. What's exciting about this is our ability and our effort to go out and help regional ecosystems that have university support, that have local support, that have state support, places where we believe that federal dollar can go out and create a hub of excellence for particular technologies, particular areas. So we're excited about that program. If you aren't familiar with it, I really highly encourage you to get online and look up the EPIC program through OTT. So where are we in quantum? President Trump signed the National Quantum Initiative Act in 2018, which has now increased our funding into the quantum area by 5-fold. Most importantly, at the Department of Energy, and very excitingly in the last 2 weeks, we've announced the launch of our quantum initiatives and quantum centers. We have 5 quantum centers now across the country, mostly around our national labs, all around our national labs. But these are exciting opportunities, and I encourage anybody who's interested in the quantum industry to make sure that you're connecting with those hubs, because those are not static hubs. We want to grow the people that interact with those hubs. We want to grow the economy. And when we talk about the quantum initiatives here in the country, it's very exciting and unique that quantum and the quantum internet, which the department recently launched our quantum internet blueprint, it's growing unlike any other technology we've seen in a long time. And what I mean by that is the research is happening simultaneously in government and in private industry. And an industry is being built, whether it's finance, whether it's the research industry itself, or security and communications. It's being built at the same time as we're doing the research. And so it's important for the department to make sure that we are hand in hand with private sector entities that are interested in this particular research as we go forward. I look forward to talking more about how we can interact as a department, how you can interact with the quantum centers, and how you can interact with the federal government as we go forward. So thank you again for having me. Thank you to the University of Wyoming. Thank you to President Seidel. Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here, and really appreciate everything that you've brought to the market, including your energy. So your personal energy. So we will go to Cam Wright, and who is the Dean of Computer Science at the University of Wyoming, and we'll get a couple opening remarks from you, Cam, on how you're thinking about the next generation of talent.
Hi, I'm Cameron Wright. I'm Dean of the College of Engineering and Applied Science here at the University of Wyoming. I'm just down the road a little bit in one of our new buildings here. It's why I don't have to have a mask. And I'd just like to say that we're so lucky to have President Seidel here with all of his experience, and Connor participating here. I know Connor and I had some good conversations last night about advanced computing and supercomputing and some of the competition across the world. There's just so much going on here in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. And of course, we work in an interdisciplinary way with colleges across the campus. We work with the College of Business, College of Agriculture and Applied Science, the Arts and Sciences, and all sorts of different kinds of projects. And Connor may find it interesting that one of my recent research projects that I worked on before I got pulled to the dark side of administration here is we were doing some image reconstruction using muons as the source. So we were using muons to actually detect what you call special nuclear material. No matter how much the bad guys tried to shield it or hide it or whatever, muons could still see it. So it's a fascinating project funded by the DOE, and we worked with Los Alamos National Lab very closely on that. But we have all sorts of projects going. We have Artificial Intelligence Manufacturing Lab. We have the Cedar Cybersecurity Lab. We have the Blockchain Research and Applications Laboratory that's funded by IOHK. We have Flow-Through Porous Media Labs, Virtual Reality Labs. It's just a great combination of everything sort of coming together. And what is different to me from when I first started getting into this is that you did research for a while and then maybe you saw how you could apply it. But I think, you know, Connor sort of hit on this a little bit, that everything's coming together. It's all happening together at the same time now. You're researching, you're moving ahead, you're learning more, but you're also right then learning how to apply it. And we don't have time to waste on this. And all these minds together, I think, will help us do that. But in the interest of getting us back on schedule, I'm gonna cut this short, and I just welcome everybody here. I'm so glad that President Seidel had all the people to welcome, so I didn't have to remember them all. But I'm really glad to be here, and I look forward to the rest of this panel.
Excellent. And Cameron, you did the best job of keeping us back on schedule and still getting a lot of good information out there for us. So I believe we'll have Governor Gordon joining us here in about 2 minutes. So I'm going to do a little Johnny Carson and dance. But you can take a couple more if you would like, or we can just pause until
Well,
we get the governor.
I have a question for Cam. I'm just curious, do the muons, yeah, this is working. Do the muons go and find kaons the way RNA finds DNA?
But it's a fascinating process. You know, muons are raining down on us all the time. They're passing through our bodies. You know, we don't even detect them or feel them. But it turns out if they pass by something with a very high atomic number, like, you know, uranium or plutonium or something like that, their paths deviate just a little bit. And if you can measure that path deviation, you can back into it to create an image in a way that's similar to computed tomography, the way you back into a computed tomography image in a CT scan or an MRI. And it was fascinating. We could pack things inside many feet of lead and you could still see.